Satnam, beautiful sovereign sisters. Well, December is here, and you're probably going to want to sit down, grab some tea, grab some coffee to really take in all of the incredible astrological events that are occurring during this last month of 2024. We're talking about a powerful mix of astrological alignments and also this week's Ancestral Tarot Wisdom to help us guide ourselves through this very transformative time. Astrologically, this month we are bridging the fiery inspiration of Sagittarius with the very grounded discipline of Capricorn as we navigate some key astrological events like Mars going retrograde, Neptune going direct, Mercury going direct, all leading to the sacred time of the winter solstice, the most important time of the year. I'm also going to be sharing with you in this video this week's Ancestral Tarot Guidance, which aligns very beautifully with the astrology of the month and also the play and very popular movie that just came out this last weekend known as Wicked, to uncover the keys to releasing emotional baggage, stepping into clarity, and aligning with opportunities that resonate with your soul's purpose, not with anyone else's. So let's dive in and on this video with this month's astrology, as well as what the ancestors have to share in this week's tarot guidance. So welcome, 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 and thank you for being here. As I was looking at the month of December and all of the different astrological events, the biggest themes and patterns that I noticed was this need to ground the light that is being born within each and every one of us during the darkest month. And that's what December is really all about. I was just sharing in my community, the Sovereign Sisterhood Academy and Satori Vitality and Spirituality, how this month we're working on the radiant body, on radiance. It's one of the 10 energetic bodies of the Kundalini Yoga system. And the radiant body, working on it in December when we also celebrate Christmas, which is the birth of the Christ, right? Whether you agree with what history has taught us, there's a lot of evidence that Jesus Christ, Yeshua, wasn't even born during this month. However, we all know that the Bible tells us not to study astrology, even though it follows astrology to a T, which is why the birth of our brother Jesus Christ is celebrated in December. So that in itself is so symbolic of the light of the Christ consciousness that is rebirthed in each and every one of us during these holiday seasons. That's what it's really all about. Yes, we're celebrating the birth of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, but beyond that, it's the Christ light within you. And it's so interesting how God works because it's during the month where it is the darkest. The winter solstice is, for many, many years, Jogi Bhajan, who brought Kundalini Yoga from the east to the west, really drove into our subconscious minds, into our minds, just the way our ancestors always knew that the winter solstice was such a sacred time where you could really perform some major psychic surgery, meaning through the inner work of meditation, spiritual psychotherapy of A Course in Miracles, we could literally use these tools to allow that Christ to be born within us. And this is so incredibly symbolic during a time where winter solstice becomes the longest night, the most amount of dark in one day. So as we prepare for this winter solstice, what it does is that it serves as a spiritual anchor that reminds us to honor the light within as we prepare to bring in the new calendar year. In this month, with all of the different astrological things happening, which I'll break down to today, the major transits, the things, dates you should be looking out for, it's like we're being really supported and helped and assisted in this birth of the light to occur, and to occur in a way that you know that not only is it coming from God, but that you're actually releasing a lot of outdated mental and emotional patterns where you know that the reflection that you are doing on your creative and leadership goals, where you're grounding your vision with practical steps for the future, that all requires you to honor the inner light, to honor your spiritual growth, to honor your authenticity, because that's what the age of Aquarius, which Pluto moving into Aquarius, you can go check out some of my other YouTube videos here where I talk a lot more into that, is really all about. And that's why even this week's Ancestral Tarot Guidance, which I'm going to get to here next, is so symbolic of the movie and play. I watched the play originally a long time ago. I think it was like 10, 13 years ago when I watched the play Wicked. And it was so life-changing. But back then, I was still in the middle of my healing journey. So I just knew that that movie or that play was very important in my life, but I couldn't find the words to describe it. I couldn't discern. I couldn't put it all together. Now, fast forward to today, where this movie came out over the weekend, my life has come full circle. And now I understand not only the symbolism of this month and what we're stepping into with the astrology, but of my entire healing journey and why the pain and why all the things that came with the pain, like false identities, addictions, all these other things. So in the Ancestral Tarot Guidance, I'm going to break it down, but let's look at the astrology so that you can know the key dates to be looking out for and how together they just tell this perfect story of bridging the gap between who you were in this false identity because of probably generational trauma, not probably, because of generational trauma, and now stepping into this your power, discerning what is good for your soul, what is an alignment for your soul, and saying no to everything else, which can feel very uncomfortable, but by the same token is the most liberating path to you reclaiming your sovereignty. So we're getting into the Ancestral Tarot Guidance. Let's look at the key dates to look out for. So first and foremost, we had just had a very powerful new moon in Sagittarius on the 1st of December. We welcome the month of December. We had a beautiful sadhana practice in my community as a ritual to not only set intentions, but to close out the month of November, which for me was all about our identity, origins, and identity, to really align and get clear and focus on what we're creating here for the month of December. And as this new moon in Sagittarius came into our awareness yesterday on December 1st, or whenever you're listening to this on December 1st, it was also, remember, during time where Mercury is in Sagittarius and Mercury is direct, but there's also a lot of crazy energy around it, like Saturn being direct in Pisces now, Chiron, the wounded healer, making an appearance during this new moon. So what we've been feeling and what maybe you can expect from this transit is just a union of emotions, emotions with intellect, the moon, Mercury, intellect, and this adventurous sign of Sagittarius, where I know you're feeling inspired to express your feelings and ideas boldly with an emphasis on honesty, curiosity, and optimism. But there's this challenging aspect of all of this energy of like, I'm afraid of being seen, I'm afraid of being judged, I'm afraid that I'm not following the norms of what society expects from me, which is what Wicked is all about. So this new moon, what I feel is it's this opportunity, Sag, our beliefs, the philosopher, to align with our truth and to use the new moon to really get clear on who we are, what our value systems are, so that through that we can then create the goals that we actually are here to create because of our heart's desire, not because somebody else wants them. So it's a very uncomfortable new moon because you're being challenged in your values, but it's a very liberating new moon where your breakthroughs, that awareness is going to align you better with what you're really here to do, especially as we enter into this new era of Pluto moving into Aquarius. And then right after that, this week, we also have December 6th, Mars going retrograde in Leo. And that's a big deal. That is a big deal because Mars is the planet of action and energy. And as it turns retrograde into this bold and dramatic sign of Leo, the retrograde is going to force you to reassess how you express passion, leadership, and creativity. Mercury is also retrograde still until the 15th of December. So that is like a double whammy on crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and how am I communicating and expressing myself and showing up in the world? And because of this, as Mars goes retrograde on the 6th, there could be old frustrations or maybe even unresolved ego issues that are going to start to surface because this makes it a time to pause, to go within, to continue to review your values and your goals and to refine how you're going to channel this energy before you move forward. So this is a time for you to reflect on whether your ambitions are being fueled by genuine purpose or by external validation, and avoiding impulsive decisions during this period. You see the themes already happening here? The Ancestral Tarot Guidance here at the end is leading to what exactly I'm talking about with the astrological energies. So then Mars goes retrograde in Leo on December 6th. So expect this change of energy. And then we have December 7th, the next day, our friend Neptune going direct. And it's going direct in Pisces, just the way Saturn is now direct in Pisces. Lots of Pisces energy, which means Neptune now going direct is going to dissolve the fog, the confusion, the emotional numbness, which isn't that great, happening right when Mars goes retrograde while Mercury is retrograde. Because as it goes direct, now Saturn also direct, it's gonna bring up all this lingering things, you know, that happen during the retrograde. It's gonna bring up where your intuition was on point, where it was not. You're gonna get a lot of spiritual clarity with this. You're gonna be able to really look at your dreams and decipher them. You're gonna look at deeper compassion for yourself, for others, and creativity in general. But during the time where Neptune goes direct, you also have to use this time to stay grounded and to avoid escapism, because Neptune is the escape artist, and so is Pisces, the shaman, right? Connected to the realms of the spiritual. But sometimes when we're human beings, we don't know how to channel that energy. So we find ways to numb it and to escape it. And that's what Neptune is also all about. So just be careful, because this is energy that's very overwhelming. So it can cause you to escape, to go into coping mechanisms. Tomorrow on the Sovereign Sisterhood Movement podcast, my sister Elvira and I recorded a podcast episode on addiction. And this is one that you really want to watch. Make sure you set your notifications here on my channel. It's going to go live tomorrow, December, or what is tomorrow? December 3rd. So that you can look out for it, because it's going to help you navigate this Neptunian energy as it's going direct. And then right after that, on December 7th, we have, after December 7th, Neptune going direct. Then we have December 15th, the next big transit, which is Mercury going direct. But by the same token, we have a Gemini full moon. Two things happening at the same time on a full moon. That's like major. As Mercury stations direct in Sagittarius, while we're in Sagittarius season, this ends the period of miscommunication and mental delays and mental fogginess, not just because of Mercury, but also now Neptune being direct. So Mercury is going to start to regain momentum. Clarity in decision making and planning starts to improve. Remember, Mercury has a 2-week shadow period pre and post retrograde season. So the shadow period is still going to be there throughout the end of December. So it's a slow process, right, of bringing back this decision making with clarity, of having just the ability to discern in a lot easier way. And the other thing is, with the same, and on the same day with Gemini going, Gemini full moon happening on the very same day, Gemini full moon is going to highlight the importance of balancing logic and intuition. So it's about short-term thinking with this long-term vision. And this full moon is going to call for you to release mental clutter and embrace clear communication. Isn't that beautiful? Literally, Mercury going direct, Gemini is governed and ruled by Mercury. Together, it's almost like breakthrough, cycles closing. Let me show you. Let me get you clear on the fiery passion that Mars is trying to get out through you. Let me clear the fogginess of the Neptunian retrograde. And now it all comes full circle on this very powerful full moon on the 15th, which leads up to the most important. This is not an astrological transit, but on that day, a very important astrological transit does happen. So December 21st, this is the most important day of the entire month, because not only does the sun enter Capricorn, and we welcome Capricorn season. Happy birthday to all my fellow Capricorns, fellow Capricorn over here. But we also welcome the winter solstice. And for a yogi like myself, a Kundalini yogi, this is the most important time of the entire year. The way that the sun projects rays onto Mother Earth on that day, because we have more darkness than light, that allows us to then use meditation practices like Kundalini Yoga to do major psychic surgery on the subconscious mind. The winter solstice being the darkest day of the year in the northern hemisphere is a shift that symbolizes a return to the light and the practical application of the lessons learned. And when you integrate, this is why our ancestors always had rituals. And I always have a yearly winter solstice workshop. We always have in our communities monthly full moon workshops, new moon workshops. Why? Because these are our rituals. When the energy of that Mother Earth is receiving from the moon or from the sun fluctuates, it creates portals literally where you can use that energy through meditation to then clear out subconscious mind patterns. That's why practicing Kundalini Yoga is like getting on a jet to come back home to yourself, because not only do we practice it, but then we also make sure we have rituals around these very important dates that then has allowed me to release a lot of generational traumatic patterns that don't serve me. That's where my healing journey has just sped up in this quantum speed because of the fact that I'm also doing it around these very sacred days. So the winter solstice in itself is a portal, and it's a shift in consciousness as we step into the winter time and this time of reflection, this time of going within. What's really interesting is that on that same day, we also welcome Capricorn season. And Capricorn is a discipline, right? Very different than Sag. This is the energy where we're being invited to focus on long-term goals, on structure, on responsibility. So with the winter solstice, because the winter solstice is really a time when the pranic energy life force is at its peak, this is an ideal time for meditation, like I said, a rebirth, where we're being encouraged to honor the light within and to realign with our higher purpose. Together, it's just such an important time to ground and to bring it from the spiritual, from the vision to the actual material. It's a perfect paradox of we have all of this auspicious mystical energy, but by this with the winter solstice, but by the same token, we have Capricorn energy that helps us ground it and do something with it. Because you don't just want to be like a lofty spiritual person only operating in the spiritual realm, even though that's the only realm that is real. You're given a body for a reason, and you have a purpose in this incarnation and in this body, that when you discover that and you actually serve towards that purpose, then that becomes the most liberating day of your life, and life becomes freedom, sovereignty. So together we can use the energy for clarity, for focus, to reflect on our year, to set grounded intentions, but really not locking them in. I don't lock in my intentions until March. I will set intentions for the year, but not goals. The actual goals I create are always in March, because March is the spring equinox. That's the beginning of the astrological year, and that's when you really should be setting intentions, because during Capricorn season, that's why like 90 to 95% of New Year resolutions are broken. We're more, even though it's very grounded energy of responsibility and taking action, we're working more on the foundation. It's too dark. We're still working through connecting with the light. So we're working on building a strong foundation so that as we get closer to the spring equinox, now we can take off and really get our goals accomplished. So right after we're done with that, then we have the holiday season for those of you that celebrate Christmas as well. And before we close out the year, we have a second new moon, which makes this month also very, very unique, because that's double the new beginnings, double this new intentions that we're moving into. And this new moon is in Capricorn on the 30th of December, right before the New Year's. And because of that, it's offering us this perfect opportunity to plant the seeds for the future, especially in areas related to your career, to money, to ambition, to personal growth. It's time for this goal setting, but this goal setting on the foundation. Okay, if I want to do this in my career or this amount of money, well, what's the foundation got to look like? What do my daily habits have to look like? My mindset. That's really the key. Working on those two things with this new moon is going to help you tremendously, because you can then begin to navigate the path of setting that strong foundation in all of the month of January, fortifying that as we move into February, and then once come March, solidifying. solidifying the actionable goals for the next astrological year so that you can then incorporate whatever work it is that you need to incorporate to make that happen. In my community, we do, instead of business planning, I used to be a business coach. I was a real estate broker that managed hundreds and hundreds of agents, or over 100 agents under me. So we always did a business planning clinic, right? But the most important planning clinic that you could do for 2025 is your energy plan. Your energy plan is what are the inner work? What's the inner work that you're gonna commit to, your non-negotiables, your daily meditation practice, your daily prayer practice, right? What does that look like? Because if I don't have a energy plan for 2025, good luck on meeting your other goals. It all starts in the mindset, your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if you don't heal, and if you don't set an energy plan to change that mindset, or to have a mindset that is strong to deal with the stress that comes with growth and all these other things, then you're gonna very easily not only not meet your goals, but you're not even gonna get to even being able to holding yourself accountable for it. So as you can see, this month of December, we have a lot of beautiful closing of cycles, beginnings of cycles. It's a very powerful time of transition, of transformation. And that is why knowing these key dates will help you understand yourself more. Now, it's very easy for you to pull your own astrological chart. You can pull all of these key dates, which I'm going to include in the description here below. And you can look at, hey, where does Capricorn sit on my chart? That'll tell you a better story about what this Capricorn new moon is all about. Winter solstice is all about for you. You could look at where Mercury sits in your chart and what house Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius. So look at Sagittarius. What is Sagittarius doing in your chart? Because all that put together tells you an even better story on specifically what does this mean for you. Are you working on career this month? Is it more of a home situation? Is everything more revolving around your spiritual life? All of that is important, and you can always pull a free birth chart online and get deeper into this. We do training on this inside of my community. The Sovereign Sisterhood Academy is not open for enrollment, but at Satori Vitality and Spirituality, especially on Mondays when we do our sadhana, I share a lot about this and how to do this, even with AI, where it makes it a lot easier for you to really understand yourself. Because ultimately, that's what astrology is. It's a self-realization tool to help you understand yourself even more. So I will link all that information below so you have it, the key dates, keep those around. This is not a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is more of a weather report, so you know whether to bring the umbrella, or maybe you should bring the jacket, or maybe you should bring something else, right? Based on the weather, the astrological weather. So now knowing all this, let's shift gears into this week's Ancestral Tarot Guidance, where we're going to uncover not only the wisdom of your ancestors, but how this relates so beautifully to this play, this movie Wicked, and how it's so symbolic also of what is happening in the world and personally in each and every one of our lives. But before we continue, if you're enjoying this video and you're finding these insights valuable, please do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who might need it. Together, we're spreading the light and we're creating a global movement of generational healing. Now, let's see what the cards have to say for the week ahead. So the first card that came up, and like I said, I'm going to associate this with the play Wicked and the movie Wicked. As generational cycle breakers, we are often the ones that are challenging the norm. So we're like the black sheep of the family. We're stepping out of line. We're breaking free from patterns that have held our ancestors back. And you would think, oh my goodness, you would probably have received so many accolades from all your family and friends for doing this work. But it's actually the opposite. You trigger a lot more people. And the reason that you trigger a lot of more people is not because you're a bad person. It's because when you are on the generational healing journey and you're healing yourself, a lot of people are triggered because they know they should be healing too. They know that they should be embodying the things that you're embodying, and that triggers them and that makes them angry. And this reminds me of the story in Wicked, which is a play and a movie that is the preface to The Wizard of Oz. So we all know the Wizard of Oz story with Dorothy and the witch Glinda. and you know, the scarecrow and the lion, right? I think most of us know that story. Well, Wicked is basically the pre-story to the Wizard of Oz from the perspective of Elphaba. Elphaba was the so-called Wicked Witch of the West in Wicked. And remember in the Oz movie, in the Wizard of Oz movie, everybody's like celebrating at the beginning because the Wicked Witch of the West is dead. But in the movie Wicked, we follow this untold story of Elphaba. And she's on this journey of self-discovery, of friendship, of defiance of societal expectations. Unlike the classical tale of the Wizard of Oz, this story of Wicked involves Elphaba's misunderstood life, showing her as someone who challenges corrupt systems, stands in her truth, and ultimately becomes a symbol of rebellion against oppression. Her friendship with Glenda the Good Witch is highlighting the tension between conforming to societal norms and breaking free to live authentically. And as generational cycle breakers, we resonate with Alphaba's struggle. I resonate with Alphaba's struggle so much and with her triumphs. Now I know why back in 2013, I think that was when I saw the play. That play was so impactful in my life. I just couldn't find the words. I couldn't discern why it was so impactful in my life. And it's because all my life, prior to me doing this healing work and me leaving my business as a real estate broker to now teach other women how to generationally heal holistically, I lived as Glenda the Good Witch. I lived basically pretending to be this good person who just basically chased after all these things that life served. Like, you wanted the cars, you wanted the houses, you wanted the perfect look. I wanted to be perfect in every way, shape, and form. And what that caused me to do was not live my authentic truth. And all of this driven from generational trauma patterns, where Elphaba in Wicked, she walks away from what doesn't serve her. She is the green witch that no one likes because she so looks different. She has powers, but ultimately she's being authentically herself. And what she does in Wicked is she uses her intelligence, her courage to confront corruption, the wizard, and she takes her time to reflect on her path. And this week, the Ancestral Tarot Guidance is all about that. It's all about us realizing that the real pain, it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain is because we are not being authentically ourselves. However, the three-card guidance is showing us is that these, not only is there a connection with the Wicked story, but that now it is actually safe to be you. Because in the end, in the Wicked story, what you see is Elphaba, even though we don't see that in the Wizard of Oz, we see Elphaba being the one who breaks free from the Matrix, who lives happily ever after. We realize that Glenda is actually the evil one, the one that everybody likes and praises for her looks and how kind she is because she has the money, she has a family that loves her, what society accepts as normal. She ends up being the one that is evil. And that's so reflective of Pluto and Aquarius energy, where the age of Aquarius is where the meek have risen, where being authentically you is what's really going to make you not only fulfilled, but keep you healthy. Because the number one thing that happens when we go through patterns of generational trauma is that we create all these identities of the ego because of the pain. We don't become, we don't act as ourselves. We put up all these, put masks on and facades and identities to pretend like the pain is not there, which ultimately would be our demise. And that's what this three-card reading is all about. So let me break it down to you so you can see how it applies to you in your life. The first card that comes out in the immediate past, because this is a journey, a major journey of realignment and discernment and clarity. So the first card that we get is actually the Eight of Cups, upright. And the Eight of Cups is literally about walking away in the immediate past, leaving unfulfilled situations. It's about hitting this emotional void. And now I've been talking a lot about that in my communities, that even if you're not on the generational healing journey, we've all, as a collective consciousness, hit a void of healing, this like deep, dark night of the soul. And it's very reflective and symbolic of the winter solstice that's coming up, and also because of all the major timeline shifts we all did in the month of November, especially, not just with Pluto going into Aquarius, with the United States of election, with all these technology things that were released, even the fact that they're now talking about UAPs, is that what they call them now? Or used to be intergalactic family members, all that stuff, people are just trying to catch up with the cognitive dissonance that is real. So in the immediate past, we were working on releasing illusions. That's what the Eight of Cups is all about. We were repressing emotions, perhaps, but the reason why, because we were scared to address these deep-seated issues. And there was a moment where we had to realign. We've experienced in the Eight of Cups in the immediate past a pivotal shift in consciousness where we were letting go of something that we once cherished, but that no longer fulfills us. And although this may bring sadness, the ancestors are reminding us that it was necessary in order to step towards realignment. And think about it. When you think about the story of Wicked that I just shared with you, this is about walking away from unfulfilling situations despite the emotional investment you've had in that identity, in that relationship, where you were recognizing this no longer serves my highest good. And how that relates to Wicked, Elphaba, the Green Witch, her journey begins with her disillusionment in her relationships, especially with her father and the societal structures of Oz. Why? Because her mother had an affair and then she never knew who her father was, right? And that's why she was green. And what did she have to do? She had to walk away from the life that she thought she wanted when she realizes the wizard's true nature, which was her father. So her departure from the wizard's court represents her refusal to compromise her values, even if it isolates her. So that's what this card is all about. It's about the courage to leave behind what is a familiar but unaligned with your truth. This is a recurring struggle for Elphaba as she seeks to define herself authentically. This is what I went through when I finally left the real estate industry. And it wasn't when I left the real estate industry, it was really the beginning of my healing journey because the mask finally came off. So in the immediate past, we're working with this mask coming off, and now we feel vulnerable. Now we feel exposed. And in comes the journey of the present moment, which in the present, the card that we received as guidance from the ancestors is now the King of Swords upright. And this is amazing for the present moment energy because the King of Swords upright is a leader, one who uses intellect, objectivity, very clear in making decisions, standing in your power. And that is so reflective of Wicked and Elphaba's intellectual power and the moral clarity that she had, which were central to who she was. She sees through the wizard's manipulations and she acts decisively, even if society does not approve of her, even if others doubt her and others fear her. They fear her power. And that's what this card is all about. Because this card is also, as a King of Swords, resonating with Glenda's gradual evolution as she learns to make more thoughtful and morally conscious decisions about her role in Oz, in the land of Oz. The necessity of intellectual courage and moral integrity is key here in navigating very complex, high-stakes situations. But that's what the King of Swords in the presence is showing you. You have that intellectual power. You have this ability to make impartial, well-researched decisions while keeping your emotions in check. You have the ability to cut straight to the heart of the matter for maximum impact. And you are not afraid to ask for help from a mentor, from a community. That's key in the age of Aquarius. And because you do that, you're stepping into your power without any fear of what other people say. But it's because of all the work you had to do with the Eight of Cups energy. And now we're in the situation of the immediate future. And in the immediate future, the card that jumped out immediately was the Four of Cups, upright. And this is all about discernment. Opportunities are coming to you, but you're saying no to focus on what really is true to your soul purpose and to your goals. There's an inward focus, a period of grounding, of reflection, of contemplation before taking the next step. You're declining opportunities now doesn't mean you're rejecting them forever. You're just waiting for the right moment, or you're seeking further clarity. So there's a reevaluation phase coming up where you're reassessing your life, you're reconnecting with your emotional truth to regain purpose, and you're guarding yourself due to past hurt, which can lead to missed opportunities. But because you've done the work of the King of Swords, is actually going to be an incredible tool to help you discern. And think about it. When I think about this card as it relates to Wicked, turning inward to reflect, to reevaluate priorities and regain alignment, saying no to distractions. Well, this applies to both Elphaba and Glenda, embodying this energy as they both reassess their choices. Elphaba, what does she do? She retreats to her personal mission of defying the wizard and helping others, refusing to be swayed by society's judgment or external accolades. That's a sovereign woman. Glenda, she's also reflecting on her role as a good person and begins to question whether her public image aligns with her true self. That's who I used to be before my healing journey. So, what the Four of Cups represents is this period of introspection and realignment before embracing transformative opportunities. So, altogether, if you really look at the cards, they tell a perfect story. With the Eight of Cups, first, being encouraged to step into a powerful phase of realignment and clarity, where we've recently released something unfulfilling, a courageous act that set the stage for deeper emotional and spiritual growth. And now it's time to embrace that intellectual strength, that objective decision making, to navigate current challenges with precision and with fairness. Opportunities are on the horizons, but patience and discernment are essential. Focus on what truly aligns with your soul's purpose. So this week, I really believe that the ancestors are guiding us and reminding us to ground ourselves in our truth, to reflect, to know that we don't have to rush, to know that this inward journey we're taking, especially with the astrology of the month, will allow us to not only allow the light to be born within us, but will allow us to also accept our shadows, will allow us to reconnect with our inner truth, to clarify what it is that we truly desire, what we want to create, why we're here. So it's key and crucial that the ancestors should get this message to stay open to new opportunities, but no need to rush. Timing and alignment are key to trust our wisdom, to trust our power and stop being afraid of it, to stop, do the healing work so that we stop seeking approval from others, and to absolutely seek guidance, whether from a mentor, a community, in order for you to move forward with confidence, knowing that you are fully supported. Overall, this is a journey of transformation, and it mirrors Elphaba and Glenda's journeys of personal evolution. Both characters leave behind their initial dreams, Eight of Cups, an expectation to step into deeper truths, the King of Swords reflecting their eventual empowerment and clarity as they make choices rooted in their authenticity rather than what society expects from them. And the Four of Cups captures their introspective moments where they question and refine their roles in the land of Oz. So as you can see, the ancestors have your back. God has your back. During a month where we are all diving deep within our souls, it is key to, yes, allow the light to be born within, but to also honor the shadows and the darkness that have created the whole and complete, beautiful soul that you are. So thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's astrological and ancestral tarot guidance, for exploring with me this month's astrology. If this message resonated with you, please do not forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and share it with others who may need this insight. While enrollment for the Sovereign Sisterhood Academy is currently closed for generational healing, I invite you to begin your generational journey, healing journey with us at Satori Vitality and Spirituality. This is for those that are beginning their generational healing journey, where we focus on increasing your vitality and nurturing the foundation of your healing journey before you dive into the deeper work of generational healing. So you can check out the link below by clicking on that link, and you can learn more about Satori, vitality, and spirituality. And I will also notify you all when we do open enrollment again for the Sovereign Sisterhood Academy. I cannot wait to connect with you on your path of reclaiming your sovereignty from generational patterns of pain and trauma. Until next time, stay radiant, sovereign, and remember who you are. Wahe.